welcome to the Spirit Speaker KC podcast. I'm psychic medium Jamie Collins. Welcome, welcome. I thought today I would talk a little bit about, I always mention how I bring up things that happen during my mediumship development group. And as some of you may or may not know, I run a development circle, mediumship development circle, but we do more than mediumship. Run a mediumship development circle and have for actually later on this year, it'll be 5 years that this has been going on, and I'm really excited about that. We've gotten lots of new people. I really love this because I think a lot of people are discovering that they have some abilities and they really want to work on it. They really want to develop it. And I think being in a mediumship development circle really helps you get that practice and find out if this is for you. So if you're ever interested in developing your abilities, please go to my website, look up dates and times for the development circle, and come join with a bunch of like-minded people and try that out. But anyway, the other night was development circle, and one of the a question. Well, no, this wasn't a question. I have to ask or be honest about. But what I noticed, so a little backstory on this is the development circle is I talk a little bit about a topic, and then you're always going to get to practice. You're always going to get a couple of readings. When we have circle, you give readings and you receive readings. And what happened last night is I noticed a couple of folks talked about they went psychic or they dropped psychic. Now, the exercise was a 7-minute exercise. They had to give a 7-minute reading to their partner, and it was mediumship. I set the parameters where it had to be mediumship. Okay. So that means, again, if you're new or just joining us, what do I mean by mediumship? That means we're connecting with loved ones who have crossed over. We're connecting with spirit. So the point of this exercise, this 7-minute exercise, is you had to make a contact. You had to make a contact with a spirit person from the other side. So what happened afterwards when we're kind of having feedback and we're talking about this exercise, I had a few people tell me that they dropped psychic. And what does that mean, or what has happened? Now, I want to preface this by saying, in a normal mediumship session, like for me, when I'm with a client and I'm in a session, it's okay. Sometimes I may go psychic. When I sit down with a client, I set no expectations. When I sit down with a client, I don't know if it'll be mediumship. I don't know if it'll be psychic, or it could be a hybrid or what we call a combination reading. I may get some mediumship, meaning I'm connecting with one of their loved ones, or I may tune in and get information about my client. Okay. So I just want you to know, for me, when I sit down with a client, a session could be all psychic, all mediumship, or a combination. There's no expectations. However, when I'm in circle and we're practicing, we're developing, we're strictly doing mediumship. And I'm of the belief that spirit knows this. Those spirit folk that are there, because let's face it, they're always around. But when we set the intention of that class, spirit is there to help us. And I tell the students this. Students, spirit is there. They're helping us. They're teaching us. So I know they're there. But what will happen is we will have students that will drop and go psychic, meaning instead of connecting with spirit, they're connecting with their partner. They are getting information about their partner, whether it be career or relationship or what a psychic reading is, meaning basically it could be anything that's going on in the life of the client or their partner. That's what mediumship or psychic is. Mediumship, I'm connecting with spirit. Psychic, I'm connecting with you. Mediumship, I'm following the lead of spirit and I'm going to talk about whatever they want to talk about. A psychic session, I'm connecting with your energy and anything could come up. Okay. But for this exercise, I specifically said mediumship. So students drop psychic. And I wanted to talk a little bit about why that happens or what could be some reasons that this happens, that who's the medium in the exercise drops and goes psychic. So a couple of things is, the first thing I believe is the medium, the student, the medium, the one who's the medium in the exercise loses their focus. Okay, they lose their focus because, believe it or not, when you're connecting with spirit, if you don't stay in your power, that energy of you connecting, blending with the energy of those in spirit, it can take just a little bit for you to lose your power. For instance, I could be sitting here giving a reading in my home office, and then let's say the neighbor's dog starts barking or an ambulance goes down the street. I could easily lose my power and become distracted and lose that connection with spirit. And this is what I believe happens with students. They're new, they're learning, and it's very easy to kind of lose our focus or lose that connection, that blend with spirit. I've been doing it long enough that even if the neighbor's dog started barking or an ambulance goes down the street, I'm okay. It's the same thing when I'm working a fair. You've got 60, 70, 80 booths there at a fair, people talking and noise and this. If I don't stay focused and kind of tune that out, I'd never be able to work fairs. So what I believe is happening here, why students are going psychic, and this was just a 7-minute contact. All they had to do was make a 7-minute contact. And I believe it's because they lose their focus. They lose that discipline of being there, connecting with spirit. Because it's like I told the students, it's not spirit who left and said, I've got a golf date. I'm done. I'm not connecting with you anymore. Or, I've got things to do. I'm gonna leave you and you just figure it out. I don't believe spirit leaves us. I believe when we drop and go psychic, it's us. It's not spirit. Spirit is still there. They haven't gone anywhere. I promise you, they haven't left to go to the movies. They haven't left to go eat dinner. They are still there. It's us who have lost that connection. So what do? We panic. Oh, I'm not feeling them. Oh, where'd they go? I'm not getting any information. So what do? We leave spirit and we go psychic. I'll just tune into my partner. I'll tune into my partner and focus on her. So I'm not just sitting here quiet. I'll leave spirit and I'll focus on my client. And then I'll go psychic because that's easy. I can bring up, you broke up with your boyfriend or you're having a new boss at work. And no, don't leave spirit. I always try to say, just think of how much it took for that spirit to lower their vibration and come through to you to want to speak to their loved one. It's almost like you're on the phone and you don't want to talk to someone, so you just hang up on them. It's almost like, in a way, that's what we're doing with spirit. Like, what you have to say is not important. But spirit has not left. Okay. So here are a couple things that I think happens and why we go psychic, besides losing our focus or not being tuned in to that spirit. One of the besides losing our focus, and this is where, if you listen or go through on YouTube or Spotify, one of my other podcast episodes about sitting in the power, this is where I believe sitting in the power really helps mediums stay focused, stay connected, staying in that power of connecting with spirit. But here's some other things that happens why I believe we go psychic and we lose that connection with spirit. It's demanding or expecting certain types of information. So you're sitting with your partner and you get your initial. I'll just use example. Okay, I'm aware of a man. I believe it's grandpa. And I know that grandpa enjoyed fishing in his spare time. So you're giving this message to your partner and you say, "Do you understand?" And your partner says yes. And then all of a sudden, you don't get anything else. You're stuck. You're like, "Whoa, what's going on? How come I'm not getting anything else about grandpa and the fishing in his spare time like a hobby?" It goes quiet. It's like radio silence. So what happens? The medium begins to get stressed. They begin to doubt. They are expecting or demanding from spirit. I'll even take demanding out of there. I'll say expecting. So after they've given that, maybe they're expecting some other information to come through, but it's not coming through exactly the way that they think it will. So it goes quiet. And that will take them out of their power. It'll take them out of that energy. The second reason that this may happen, in your mind, as you're connecting with spirit, you start asking spirit questions. So you have grandpa who loved to fish in his spare time. It was really a hobby for him. This is something he enjoyed so much that it was a hobby. So you start asking grandpa questions. Well, where did you fish? Did your loved one sitting here fish with you? What kind of fish did you catch? Where was this at? Was it at the lake? Was it at a pond? You start asking spirit questions in your mind, and you can't do that. The reason why we don't ask questions is because who's in control of the session? You or spirit? I'm of the belief that spirit is the one who's in control of the session, not me. So I'm already a believer that spirit's going to come through with whatever they come through with. So that could be another reason. One, expecting certain types of information. Two, asking questions of spirit. Another reason you might drop and go silence, because it goes back to expectation in a way. You have this checklist. Now, there's some in mediumship circles, teachers all around the country, the world, that teach about checklist. And the checklist is who they are, how they died, how old they were, how tall they were, what they look like. This is called a checklist. What job they had, how many kids they had, were they married or not married. That's kind of old school mediumship. They don't really teach the checklist approach anymore. I shouldn't say that. Maybe there are those out there. No offense to anyone who does teach that. I've just never been taught the checklist approach. There is no checklist. Why? Because again, we're in control. We're taking control instead of letting spirit take control. And if I'm looking for who they are, how they died, what their job was, I'm doing this. Oh, okay, there's that. I got that. No, that's not the way we're letting spirit be in control. And then I think the biggest part, number 4, is doubting. When we get that radio silence, we just start to doubt. We get uncomfortable. Even if we don't realize it, we get uncomfortable. Why isn't more information coming? I'm not getting that. I'm not understanding that. What is happening? Come on, spirit, give me more. We start to doubt. And what does that doubt do? It takes us out of our power. Instead of being in our heart, in our solar plexus, we get up here in our head. And once we get in our head, that takes us out of our power. It takes us out of our power. And what do? We go psychic because that's easy. Okay? We know spirit has not gone anywhere. They're still there. Because then, even as you're doubting or you're doing your checklist, oh, all of a sudden you'll get something, a piece of information. That shows you spirit's still there. They haven't left you. They're still right there. We just haven't maintained our focus. And what has happened? Sometimes what I believe has happened, once that next bit of information has come through, we've surrendered. And I think sometimes we hear this word and we forget, what is surrender? Or I could ask you, what's the opposite of surrender? Control. We as mediums do not control the session. And I believe if we learn to surrender and just follow the lead of the communicator, follow the lead of spirit, it's a lot better. And what does that mean? That we allow spirit to come through with whatever it is that they want to come through with. That's really it. We say to spirit, and I say this to spirit whenever I have a session, I say, spirit, come through however it is that you want to come through. Help me to experience you. Help me become you. Help me to get out of the way. I don't want to take control, spirit. You control. I surrender. And that's what that's what I say to spirit before I begin a session. I always say, spirit, I surrender, I get out of the way, and I want you to come through in the way that you know is best for your loved one to know that it's you. That's really it. And again, just as that reminder, if you're a medium out there working, seeing clients professionally, and you're in a 30-minute session, 45-minute session, hour session, if you go psychic, that's okay. Just make sure you let your client know, okay? This is me picking up some information about you. Make sure you just distinguish to your sitter, hey, this is me, what I'm picking up about you psychically, or this is coming from spirit. So I just thought this would be one of those things to bring up because it came up in class, going psychic during a mediumship reading. And especially, this is more so not geared for the professional, because professionally, that's how you work. And I do. Some of my sessions are hybrid, they're psychic and mediumship. But when we're in class or we are practicing, we can't drop psychic. We are working on mediumship. Spirit has not left us. I promise you, they are there. The only thing that's gotten in the way is us. We begin to doubt or have certain expectations that this is how things are supposed to happen, or the checklist approach. It's really about doubting because you're expecting information to come a different way. And really, the only way to get better is to keep practicing. And that's why we have the development circle. And again, another way to not lose your power is to sit in the power. And I'm a big proponent of sitting in the power. Some people may not be. I do sit in the power, maybe not as much as I should, but then again, I don't know that there's a certain time frame. I don't feel like you have to sit in the power 30 minutes every single day, but let's try, if you're out there and you're practicing and your intention is to do mediumship, let's focus on staying working on mediumship. And like I told the students the other night, it's 7 minutes. You can stay connected to spirit for 7 minutes. You can. Just surrender. Surrender. Get out of your own way. Get out of your own way. And I promise you, if you'll just relax and get out of your way, you'll find that spirit is still there. And if you do ever feel, especially when you're developing, that you get this silence or this long pause, just say to spirit, tell me more. Help. Say to spirit, help. Even you're not telling them to help with what or giving them specifics or demanding any type of information. Just say, Spirit, I need your help. I need your help. And especially in a development circle or when you're practicing, you'll find that Spirit's right there. Spirit loves to teach us. I promise you. They love connecting with us as much as we love connecting with them. We just have to learn to trust, turn the doubt dial way down, and just trust spirit. Just trust them that they're there and they want to help us. And that's when you're finished. I will finish with a session on the drive home. I'll say, thank you, Spirit. That was awesome. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing up for your loved ones. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to read for you and connect with your loved ones. So just as much as we invite them in and ask them to be with us, I'm always big on saying, thank you. That was really cool. And I talk to them and say, oh, that was cool. Or I love the way you do this. Or I love the way you did that. Or maybe next time, can we work on this? I feel like I need to work on this a little bit more. Can we do this? Don't be afraid to talk to spirit. Because again, we're their messengers, we're the medium. And so they really want to help us out. But let's get rid of doubt. And whenever we're practicing, let's not go psychic. Unless we're doing a psychic exercise, but no psychic if we're doing a mediumship exercise. I hope that helps. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to check out my YouTube channel at Spirit Speaker KC. I'm also on Spotify. And I'd love it if you would comment on these videos, or if there's anything else that you would like to hear about. But what I'm going to try to do this year is just kind of any topics that I run across or come up in my development circle. But I'd love to hear from you as well. And thanks so much. And I will see you next time.
Okay, well, good.
All right.
Yep.
All right. All right. Let it process.
Yeah, let's see.
Maybe what I'm going to try to do, I really